Greetings, chess players. My name is Chris Torres. This is Daily Chess Musings. And no, I didn't mistype the title. It's Thursday Night Gomes. Gomes Elementary School in Fremont. Of course, it'll be Thursday Night Games as well. I'll be playing games of chess with the players from Gomes Elementary School in Fremont, California. I just finished doing a nice lesson with them on notation. So their homework, as a reminder, Gomes players, your homework is to notate a game of chess. The most accurately notated games of chess will win special prizes from me. As for the rest of you tuning in right now, your homework is to go to dailychessmusings.com and find the blog, Chess Musings blog on dailychessmusings.com. You'll see a blog post about my raffle, a free raffle that's ending in just 6 days, I think. 6 days from now. And if you're watching me on Twitch, if you're following me on Twitch, anyways, you might as well go enter the raffle. It's free for people who follow me on Twitch. Now, having said all that, I will remind you about that again, I'm sure. Having said all that, I'm going to play some chess. That's what we're here for. All right. So, first of all, I see a challenge from Diced Knights. And he wants to play a 30-minute game. We probably have enough time for this. All right. Let me check my screens, make sure they look good. Yeah, that looks reasonably good. All right. So I'm going to make my move. Open with a center pawn. Pawn to e4. I'm influencing a center square on d5. Now I'm going to play knight f3. So my pawn is influencing d5, my knights. Influencing or controlling is another word we can use for this, the e5 square. So right now, both knights are fighting for control of e5. My opponent has a little bit more control of d4 than I do. I play bishop c4. This is known as the Italian game. My opponent plays bishop c5. Okay, so they're very much controlling d4. And what I like to do here, I mean, there's a couple things I like to do. I could play pawn b4 and play the Evans Gambit. Oh, that's exciting. Any fan of Paul Morphy knows about that. But any fan of Gioacchino Greco knows that pawn c3 is also fun and playable. And I'm going to go that route tonight. The Gioco Piano. First described by Gioacchino Greco more than 400 years ago. I have 2 pawns in the center. My opponent, though, has 3 pieces developed. So my opponent has a lead in development. I have a lead in space. And there is some good tension. These 2 pawns in the center are attacking each other. So we're looking at the classical Gioco Piano as taught to us by Gioacchino Greco 400 or so years ago. Greco's book on chess was still kind of the main book on chess in the time of Paul Morphy, 200 years later, and in the time of Alekhine. So two great chess players, the American Paul Morphy and the Russian Alexander Alekhine. They both had Greco's book. Amazing. All right. Let's see. Now this is a weird move. It's a weird move. Normally this bishop's supposed to go to b4, say check, right? That was what black was supposed to do. So now I'm thinking immediately about pushing pawn to e5, forking the bishop and knight. I'm double checking things, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And now, notice I can't take either way because my pawn is pinned to my king by my opponent's queen. Remember, you can go to dailychessmusings.com, check out the blog section, join the free raffle. All you have to do to be a part of the free raffle is follow me on Twitch. It's really easy to do. And then you could win some chess gift certificates for anything you want. I'm going to castle, which takes care of the pin. If you're watching the show right now, make sure you hit that subscribe or like button or whatever it is, a follow button. It's called following on Twitch. I have to get my terminology correct. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a knight. Dice knights. Knight was left in a dicey situation. A dicey situation. Being a head material, I would really like to trade. So I have a choice here. I mean, we also like to develop with threats. So I could play like knight c3. That's a good developing move. I could play bishop d2, threatening b4, threatening to trade a bishop for a bishop. Or I could play bishop g5. Bishop g5, then my opponent could play queen g6, though. Things get a little exciting there. So let's look at that a little bit further while I'm calculating with you guys at home. If bishop g5, my opponent can play queen g6, then I could play knight e5, attacking that queen. They could play knight takes e5. I could play pawn takes e5, right? But their queen is still in this file with my king. Maybe maybe bishop d2 is just a safer move. I think bishop d2 is just a safer, cleaner move. Just trying to do the basic trade. I may play the bishop g5 in a second. Hello, Arcane Doctrine. Thank you for joining the broadcast tonight. Arcane, make sure you've gone to dailychessmusings.com and entered our free raffle. Since you are following me on Twitch, you are eligible. All you got to do is go to dailychessmusings.com, go to the Chess Musings blog, and you'll find instructions on the free raffle that ends this week. Well, not this week, but in under a week, I should say. It ends at the end of this month. What would you potentially win in the raffle? Gift cards for chess equipment. How about that? So you could get anything you want. I work with a major chess equipment supplier, and so if you want use it for a fancy chessboard, you can use it in the direction of a fancy chessboard. You could just get yourself a notation book, a tournament chess set, a demo board. I mean, anything in terms of chess. All right, so here's this queen issue being in the same file as my king. But what I've decided is that while I was talking about the raffle, I was thinking that I would play bishop d3 in this kind of situation, setting up even more trades. This is one of my students from Gomes Elementary School in Fremont, California. So no, I don't mistype the title every Thursday. It's Gomes. I'm playing games with Gomes. Let's see. I can throw in a nice check here. It looks pretty good to me. Checkarooski. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in the attack. I'm a head material. I'm castled, although my king is not safe. It's fairly safe, but not, entirely safe, because check out the bishop and the queen the way they intersect on this important h2 square. The only thing stopping disaster is the knight on f3. Okay. Let's get rid of that bishop. That was the dangerous bishop. All right, that was the one that was scaring me. Now the knight has backed up. And I have to decide, is it worth it? Should I develop a piece, or should I expose my opponent's king? It's a choice. It's a choice I have to make. I could play knight c3, or I could just play rook takes e7. Let me take a moment. Well, my opponent can't castle. First, let's think about that. If my opponent castles, I take their knight for free. So in fact, if I exchange the rook for the knight, I'm exposing their king, but their king's forced to stay in the middle anyways. So I'm going to develop the piece, knight c3. Find a nice cool beverage. Yuck. Leftover from a different day. It's no longer bubbly. That was a mistake. I made a big mistake. Not in the chess game, but in my choice of beverage. All right. That was distracting, to say the least. All right, so my opponent still cannot move their knight. However, now they could potentially put a bishop on e6, freeing up that possibility. Their queen is guarding the d5 square. I'm expecting bishop e6. That's the move I'm expecting, so I'm going to play, watch this, I'm going to play queen to b3. So if this bishop comes here, it leaves b7 weak. Now, my opponent may try bishop g4, but this knight can move. They do not. Okay. Well, now that my rooks are unified, it makes a lot more sense, this potential sacrifice. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Check. Now that the rooks are unified, I feel much more confident sacking a rook like this for a knight because I can always bring a second rook over. I can reload the rook. See how I did that? If you pick that up from tonight's lesson, pick that up from tonight's lesson. Rooks love to sacrifice themselves in a situation like this. They love to. I'm actually fairly close to some sort of game-winning combination. But I'm not quite there. So close. I took a moment to calculate just a little bit. While I'm doing this, yeah, I would say I'm a better teacher than a player. I would say that. I enjoy building people up rather than frustrating myself making blunders. I enjoy helping others understand the game of chess more. Interesting. It's really a wonderful thing. You know, it's a fun career. If you can do what you enjoy, then you have tons of energy and passion at your disposal to be very successful. And I really enjoy teaching chess, especially to young people. I'm still not quite there. I'm not quite there. But I'm going to play rook to e5. This takes the queen off its defense of d5, because I'm potentially thinking of sacking a knight on d5, because then my queen would be threatening like queen d8 checkmate. So I'm taking the queen out of its defense. The queen doesn't have that many squares she can go to safely. She has a couple choices. She could go to h6. That was one of the two. And that is a threat, but my bishop can come back. My bishop can come back. Let's see. Also, my rook can come back. Now that the queen is off the fifth rank, my rook could come back, and I still have that threat. So, in fact, I am going to play knight takes d5. Doing a little Morphy magic tonight. Hopefully. I'm throwing away some material. Completely unnecessary. There were other ways to win, simpler ways to win, just trading pieces. Lukev, possibly, that could be fun. I do have another student this evening, but if not tonight, Lukev, certainly next time I'm streaming, absolutely. Be sure to follow us on Twitch, and then go to dailychessmusings.com, because by following me on Twitch, you can enter the raffle. If you go to dailychessmusings.com, go to the blog section, you can read about the raffle. It's real easy. What made Mikhail Tal such a famous chess player? Well, he was a great attacking chess player, and he became world champion. Now, usually, the great attacking, sacrificing chess players do not become world champion because they play too dangerously. And a more conservative approach will score better. However, Mikhail Tal was able to do it. And I play rook e1, interposing. Now the queen's got to lose time. While the queen's losing time, notice I did win the pawn on d5. Okay. We are getting awfully close to some fun stuff here. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Now that my knight's up here, watch this. I'm going to go here. And this is a dual threat. Do you see both threats? There are two threats here. Well, I enjoy answering questions, Arcane. It means I have something to talk about while playing chess. I spend a lot of time combing through databases looking at famous games. All right, so the double threat, the first of the two, if he hadn't moved the bishop out of the way, I was going to play rook to e8, checkmate. The second threat was, of course, taking the rook, right? Now, I think I can take this bishop 100% safely, and then take the rook. It looks legit to me. Let's go ahead. First, we'll take the bishop. Oh, there's thousands of chess players who are quite Literally, one of my favorite things is finding an unknown chess player who plays a brilliant game. I mean, finding an unknown chess player who plays a brilliant game, there's a lot of very talented chess players out there who maybe never quite made master, certainly never became world champion. And they play a brilliant game. It's like a golfer hitting a hole in one, or a person shooting that half court shot in basketball. You know, they get called out at halftime for the competition. Um, let's see. I'm very close to a checkmate here. In fact, I'm very, very close. Let's pause and really think about this. Checks captures threats. Checks captures threats. I must look at all of them. I'm very close to a checkmate. Very, very close. Those of you who are new to my broadcast, know that I'm always talking about checks, captures, and threats. It's part of my process. The reason I sometimes struggle in bullet chess is I can't slow down and do this kind of thought process. There are naturally gifted chess players who can get away with playing great chess without doing that, and more power to them. I'm not one of those. So I take my time. This is how I became a correspondence chess master, taking my time. Now, right here, one thing that I'm looking at is knight to g5 would be cool, because it's threatening checkmate. But my opponent could play queen g4, check, right? So there's another way I can threaten checkmate and avoid that problem. And that is knight to e5. The knight is guarding g4. The knight on e5 now is guarding g4. Plus, my queen is still threatening checkmate. I took my time. That's why, you play games of chess at certain time controls. Now, honestly, you should try and master all the time controls you can. Look at Magnus Carlsen, for instance. He is a master of all time controls and the world champion. It's not by accident that that's the case. He's immensely talented. But it was not, even for somebody like him, it would not have been easy to master all the time controls that he's mastered. He's very gifted at classical chess, obviously, rapid chess, blitz, and bullet. Do you believe everyone has a chess plateau? Yes, everybody will experience a chess plateau. It's what you do when you experience that makes the difference. It's what you do, how you approach that plateau. If you hit a plateau, you could just keep playing games and repeating the same mistakes over and over again and not progress very much. If you find yourself lucky enough to get a good instructor that works well with you, they can help you overcome that plateau. All right, so the queen is guarding against the checkmate. I mean, literally, I could just take on f7, take again, and then take again. I mean, literally, I could do all of that and still easily win this game. But instead, I'm looking for a more accurate path. A more accurate path to checkmate. I have to be mindful that queen g5 check still exists. Now that my knight's up here. Again, checks, captures, and threats. Checks, captures, and threats. So, I mean, getting rid of the rook would be very useful for me. But, so taking the rook would mean that then if I were to be able to play check, the king would move, and then I could play checkmate. The problem is, if I take the rook, none of that other stuff happens because they get to play a check right away. So I'm going to go ahead and play queen to b4 check, moving the king into a more uncomfortable area. Very, very close. I'm trying to orchestrate a pretty checkmate, and I haven't found it yet. But I'm trying. I could have taken the rook, but had I taken the rook, Lukev, then I open the door and give my opponent the initiative with queen g5. Certainly it would still be winning, but what I'm trying to do is not just win. I'm trying to checkmate. I'm trying to form this checkmate. Queen e7. I really like it. I really like queen to e7. Because the queen on e7 guards g5. So there's no check. And then I'm stacking, right? I've got my rook and queen stacked. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Queen to e7. To answer your question, Lukev, knight d7, queen f8 wouldn't work because my opponent still has that rook, which I haven't taken yet, right? But these are all things to consider. These are all things to consider. If you're watching the show tonight, please give me a follow. And if you're going to give me a follow anyways, use that as your golden ticket to enter the raffle. The March raffle, or is it April? No, it's March. It's the month of March. See, I don't even know. Okay, I've got them completely trapped. I've got them completely trapped. Thank you for the follow, Lukev. I appreciate it. My opponent is completely trapped. I could do some kind of smothered mate if I could just find it. So I'm going to go through my checks, captures, and threats and think about everything I've talked about during the Checking Time series of videos over on YouTube. In the Checking Time series of videos, I go through all these beautiful checkmates. You know, Philidor's Legacy, Anastasia's mate, all these things, right? There's potential for a pretty checkmate here, and I can't quite. Knight e6 is looking pretty good right off the bat. It's looking pretty good because then I'm threatening queen f8, checkmate, and if pawn takes, queen. Oh, but the queen's still guarding f7. Oh. Checks, captures, threats. Checks, captures, threats. Let's see. Let's see if we can solve this together with our checks, captures, and threats. You know, now I wouldn't have seen this without the checks, captures, threats, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't have seen it. I forced it looks like a terrible move. Queen f8 check. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. But it forces king takes. Then I have knight to e7 check. Then the king has to go back. Oh, my opponent dice knights. And I know you. You're one of my students. You didn't let me finish the checkmate? Seriously, I worked that hard on the checkmate? All those slightly risky moves along the way? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That was a pretty game. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and look at the game review with you guys real fast because it was a pretty game. add a slight instructional element. I strongly recommend, getting yourself like the good, only 69.9% accuracy. Wow. I thought I would be slightly better than that. Upgrade your plan on chess.com so you can do this. It's really quite useful. All right, so we see all the moves. It says it's the Yoko piano. It says I've played this a lot and have a 53% win rate. Interesting. That's cool that it even tells you how often you play something. Yeah, I like the Yoko piano. Oh, it didn't like rook e5. It says this move might cause trouble. Yeah, I know it might cause trouble. That's why I played it. That's why I played it. I was playing for art. I was playing for, as Arcane Doctrine says, a filthy mate. All right. and Arcane Doctrine, it was your thing was yeah. I think your chat thing was held there because it could mean something else, right? So that's funny. All right. I know you're talking in terms of chess, but that's also funny. All right. So, I played that move because it might cause trouble. I played this move, and it says it's a mistake. This move might cause trouble. That's why I played it. Ha! So it's funny. I love this. Might cause trouble. That I should put that on a shirt. This move might cause trouble. That should be like my go-to. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that when I'm doing more analysis. I like this phrase by chess.com. I've been awarded it twice tonight. This move might cause trouble. Wow. Has anybody else ever been awarded that? Knight c7 is a mistake. This move might cause trouble. 3 times in one game, ladies and gentlemen. This move might cause trouble, yet I'm still doing just fine. Wonderful. Paul Morphy, Mikhail Tal. You were talking about Mikhail Tal. I mean, these guys would sack pieces. I was material ahead, so I could have been just trading pieces, but I tried to do something slightly more artistic. I was working on creating. I thought really hard to get this kind of checkmate idea at the end, and of course the way the game would have finished, should have finished, was like that. So it should have been 29 moves, which is good because I have this funny. Another funny quote of mine is, if you didn't win your game in under 30 moves, I bet you I can find a mistake. I tell that to my students all the time. If you didn't win your game in under 30 moves, I bet I could find a mistake. It's a little bit joking, but it's to try and encourage them to play a little bit more aggressively. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to go to dailychessmusings.com and enter the raffle. Don't forget to go to dailychessmusings.com and enter the raffle. Easy. You go to the dailychessmusings.com, click on the blog, Chess Musings blog on dailychessmusings.com. You'll find the instructions. It takes like literally seconds. And then in a few days, you might be one of the ones winning a gift card to American Chess Equipment. Lukev, I would love to play you a game, but I have a lesson starting really soon. Another lesson. This was the end of my Thursday Night Gomes class, and then I play another lesson. But you might see me again tomorrow night. How about that? Tomorrow I might come on. If you're around, how about you and I play a game? My name is Chris Torres. This is Daily Chess Musings, my own creation. Go ahead and give me a follow. Go to YouTube, check out the Daily Chess Musings channel. You'll find a whole bunch of great content there. Go to dailychessmusings.com. Subscribe over there. You'll find thousands of free chess lessons and other events and just a bunch of neat things. My name on chess.com is Coach Tortoise. You can send me a friend request on chess.com. Become a friend of Coach Tortoise. Join the Daily Chess Musings Club on chess.com. I have a club on chess.com with over 2,000 members. Over 2,000 members in the club. Maybe, I forget what our number is, but we're climbing. I would like to get it to 3,000. That would be quite something. So join the club on dailychessmusings.com. Look out for the pop-up events, which I play in. I play pop-up events in the Daily Chess Musings Club on chess.com. And then you would get a chance to play me there as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Chris Torres, and I will see you next time. So long.